time to hit the road for some awesome imaging adventures, and today we're going in search of extreme long exposure photography with a very special filter from KANI Optics. Okay, well, this is Tiddles. In fact, this is called in the local dialect the Yamaneko, and this is a wild mountain cat that is known to inhabit the rolling green hills that you can see behind me. Firstly, I must apologise if you do pick up a bit of wind. It's quite blustery here today, but that's by the by. I've got my dead cat on, so hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. But what you can also see behind me is the clouds are moving at quite a clip. Now, we've been doing regular photography in the jungles, pretty much using the same kind of technique, which can get a little bit mundane, a little bit straightforward. So I came out looking for an opportunity to try and do something a little bit more drastic or extreme, because I know we love extreme. Okay, now I'm going to be taking a wide angle shot with a 12mm Laowa super wide lens. I'll be very close to the statue of the Yamaneko, and what I'm going to try and do is to get nice streaky clouds. Now we're in the morning, it's about 9 o'clock in the morning, so there's good light. Okay, but even so, you know, trying to get a very extreme long exposure is not going to happen unless you've got a very extreme filter to place in front of your lens, and the people at KANI have sent me just the very thing. Normally for long exposure in the daytime you would associate something like an ND1000, which is a filter that reduces by a factor of 10 stops the amount of light going into your lens, but 10 stops just isn't going to cut it today. Even with the amount of light that we've got on us now, we need something a bit stronger, and hence I've got the ND32000. So this is equivalent to about 15 stops of light from entering the camera, and what this will enable me to do is to, when all is said and done, accomplish something around about a 4-minute exposure with regular settings on my camera in order to make the most of those clouds that are going crazy behind the Yamaneko. So let's go ahead and get set up, and then I'll go through the settings with you. Okay, well, we're set up. I'm as close as I want to be to the cat. It's probably only about a meter from here, but that's awesome. I'm going to be focused directly on his face. Now it doesn't matter if with the shallow depth of field with the distance, because all we're after is the aesthetic of the silky clouds with the super long exposure. Now, with regards to filtering, first of all, I'm going to be placing a soft graduated neutral density filter, so a 0.9 in the outer of the two filter holders, and then when everything's said and done and I'm just about ready to take the shot, I'll be introducing the ND32000, which looks more like welding glass than it does a photographic filter. But I can't even see through that myself, but the power of the camera sees a lot more than we do. So I'm going to go ahead and get my filters in place, and then we'll go through the settings for the shot. Let me just sort out my graduation point. There we go, that's awesome. Cool, and let me just set my focus point. And a good thing with this is we can zoom all the way in. Okay. Awesome. Good to go. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm just about ready to take the shot now. Filters are all in place. We're good to go. Settings wise, I'm going to be on f11. My distance, focal distance to the cat is about 65 centimeters. I'm going to be on, like I said, f11. I'm on ISO 100. Now with my camera I can set the bulb mode in my camera, and my intervalometer will allow me to program a shutter speed of up to 99 hours. It's just a feature of this particular camera. So we're going to be going for a 4-minute exposure. So in all of that time, these clouds that you can see moving behind the cat are going to be moving through the image but leaving their trace, so there should be nice streaky white lines from the clouds during the exposure. So fingers crossed, hopefully we can nail it in one, and we'll see how we get on. There we go, 2-second timer, just so there's no shake. And I'm going to be shielding a bit of the lens holder because of the sunlight, just to try and stop any light leaks that may occur. But we've got some nice clouds, so let's go. In England, we have a saying, quite fittingly, if something's really good, it's either the cat's whiskers or the cat's meow. And this is the cat's whiskers. Very, very happy. Awesome shot, a good testament and dedication to the Yamaneko. I haven't seen one yet, but I'd love to see one. But you never know, we've still got quite some time left here in Iriomote. Time enough to get up to some more imaging adventures. So let's go looking. Well, sadly, all good things have to come to an end, and this, unfortunately for now, is my last night in Iriomote for this trip. And so what a great way to round it all off is to come out and try again, hopefully for a beautiful sunset. I've been out here a couple of times already, so kind of results, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this time is going to be the doozy. Okay, setup wise, I've stepped away from the 12mm. I'm using my Canon 24-70 f2.8 because what I want to do is get a lot of reach. I'm actually zoomed all the way into 70mm. There's a little island offshore with a few little small islands around it, and the sun sets right behind it. So I'm zoomed in on that to try and get nice colours and just that kind of vibe of just a deserted little island with the sunset behind it and a nice calm ocean all around. So fingers crossed. It's certainly looking good. The colours are starting to look pretty fantastic at the moment. So fingers crossed. We've got about another 15-20 minutes before sunset. Setup wise, I'm going to be using a regular soft grad 0.9 because I do have the island on the horizon. If it was an uninterrupted horizon, of course I'd be using a hard grad. But as our horizon is interrupted, we have to use a soft grad. And I'll be using, as sunset gets closer, I'll be using a range of NDs, starting from about 32 and then coming down progressively, 16 and 8, depending on the light levels. I always try to get something around about a 1.6 second shutter speed for sunset shots. For me, it's just personal preference, and it just gives a nice textured motion to any water that may be in the shot as well. So fingers crossed, we'll see what we get, but it's looking good. So I'm going to start out, I'm going to put my soft grad in. You can see the nice soft gradation on that. Okay, that's going to be in the outer of the two filter slots. I'll just find my gradation point there. Okay, and what I always like to do is just take a first shot and see how it's all looking, even if it's just with a grad filter in. I'm going to start out, let's say, at f11, ISO 100, and that's giving me a shutter speed of 1/15 of a second. So let's just take a look. 2-second timer just to keep things nice and steady. It's looking fantastic, got some beautiful colour on the horizon already, so fingers crossed this is going to be a beautiful image. And now what I can also do, just as a little trick with the EOS 5 DSR, is I can come into the white balance spectrum, and I can then change it between and give it a more of a bias between amber and magenta, just to complement a sunset, which is, let's give it a go and I'll show you exactly how that comes out. I'm going to go amber 7 and shift magenta 7. Okay, so let's go ahead and same settings. In fact, we're now being told metering is at 8 seconds, so it's f11, ISO 100, 8 seconds with a slight white balance spectrum shift. There we go, absolutely beautiful, really nice. These clouds are coming into play now, got some really nice colour in there, beauty.